Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jumping in an Elevator, the podcast where I, Mike, from the only YouTube channel Mike's Mike, answer the questions that you can't be bothered researching yourself. And today's episode is special. Not that all the other episodes aren't special, because they are, because I'm in them, of course. But today's episode is special because we're doing a podcast, which is a PopCast, with a very special guest. And that guest is Miss Eve Cornwell. Eve, say hello.
Oh my god, hey guys. I can't quite believe I'm here, but honoured, blessed.
We're literally on other sides of the world. Like if I put a piece of wholemeal bread, because I only eat wholemeal, I don't eat white bread because I'm skinny, but also because like it does things to me. So if I put a piece of wholemeal bread on my side of the earth and Eve put one on hers, earth sandwich.
It's an earth sandwich. I wouldn't want to eat it right now, but maybe.
Because I'm #dieting. No, just kidding. I ate like a massive roast. I actually had a roast on a Sunday. Which feels very English.
Yeah, that's not an Aussie thing, right?
I mean, we do eat roasts, but then not on a Sunday specifically. Like, do you have roasts on other days?
No, it's like Sunday only.
That's literally insane. Also, how's my British accent?
It's a very specific area of Britain. It's kind of like, I feel like you've watched a lot of Gemma Collins, and it's like edging towards that.
She's Essex, right?
Essex, yeah.
Eve is a fantastic YouTuber, as you may know or you might not know. So this is the perfect opportunity for Eve to do her elevator pitch. So I asked Eve to prepare an elevator pitch, which if you don't know what that is, it's a 1-minute thing that I was told to organize when I was in uni, right? So if I was going to a job and they were going through all these interviews and you had 1 minute to pitch your case and say who you are, what you do, you have 1 minute to do it. I was like, Eve, prepare your elevator speech. So Eve, take it away.
Okay, so let's just start from the basics. So my name's Eve. I'm a law grad. I feel sweaty doing this. I'm a law graduate based in London. Got a YouTube channel, which kind of just like follows my life, kind of failing at things, trying to get through my early 20s, literally dragging my body through my early 20s. Do some like deep dive videos, hot topics, talk about Kanye, problematic things. And that's pretty much it for like my online presence. And then me as a person, kind of just trying to battle my way through living, to be honest, not to be dramatic. I'm currently 16 weeks into lockdown in my parents' home. I've not seen a friend in 16 weeks now, and so I would say part of my elevator pitch is just that I feel very socially inept, and even this podcast is making me profusely sweat.
16 weeks in lockdown. I'm just trying to think. I think I've passed 100 days in lockdown, which like for me, I don't know, like I'm in a prison cell marking the days on the thing and I've hit 100. Just like, whoa, triple digits. I've got a couple of questions to start with for Eve. And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask these little like questions to get started. And then we're going to go through the main question for the podcast, which is who dominated the charts in 2010? So as you guys know, I am a big pop culture fiend. I alternate between rap music and early 2000s pop music, and there kind of is no in between. So for Eve, for you, I'm going to ask you, what was 2010 for you? So like what, if you had to encapsulate what your 2010 was, or like what your favorite music was at that time, or even just like what shows or anything?
2010 for me was kind of dark, but the reason why it was dark visually was because I had a thick side fringe and I could only physically see out of one of my eyeballs because...
So it's literally dark.
Yeah, it was... 2010 was quite literally dark because I couldn't see through my awful haircut. I also had a pair of horrible chinos, which at the time I'm kind of like, okay, gender norms, like no other girls were wearing chinos and I thought I was like literally Harry Styles.
You said, I'm not like other girls.
I'm not like the other girls. Well, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do this because I just had a fringe. I just walked in and like shooshed it. I was like a female Justin Bieber. And I also associate really strong smells with 2010 because everyone was like obsessed. I don't know whether it was the same in Australia, but like everyone's obsessed with like Abercrombie and like Hollister.
I don't think we had Abercrombie, but I've seen like American YouTube videos about it.
Well, they're like these really like quite expensive like sports brands. I mean, you know what they are, but like at the time I couldn't afford them because we didn't kind of have that cash. So I used to buy like all of the bootleg fake scents, and I smelled like that, and they were like repugnant, like kind of like wee smelling, but like kind of like hot model sweaty smells.
If that was your scent for 2010, I would say mine. And now I don't know if this is like an Australia specific thing, but if I say Lynx Africa, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, no, it was a thing in the UK, yeah.
Okay, so in 2010, I was in year 10, which places me at 14, turning 15 at the end of 2010. And that was like peak playing tennis, listening to Lady Gaga era, I would say. Could you pick that I'm a tennis player?
No, this is why I'm a bit shocked.
Because I saw that reaction, I was like, is this an attack?
No, it's just the juxtaposition of like Lady Gaga and tennis. I just wouldn't have. It's a serve. It's quite literally a tennis serve. I love it.
A serve, stop. Oh my God. The next thing that I wanted to say is if we think about Eve 2010 and Mike 2010 and then Eve 2020, which feels like a slogan that you're running for president. The 2020 thing is, what are you listening to now?
Okay, I literally am just so like, I can't ever concentrate on one thing. So like day to day, my obsessions change completely. Yesterday, it was the Disney musical Hercules. And I don't know if you've listened to it, but it's actually like so badass. I've been listening to a lot of musical theatre. I blame Hamilton. Hamilton came out the film and I was literally like, I cried for like 3 days. Like it was actually quite like emotionally, anyway, love Lady Gaga, Chromatica, obviously. And then just kind of being, oh my God, do you know what I hate? And I'm just gonna take this opportunity to address this. I hate the fact that like, you know what? Yes, I do use TikTok. I quite like TikTok. But then I find the TikTok songs coming into my playlists and I don't enjoy the full listen to a TikTok song.
You prefer just that section that it's known for?
Yeah, I don't know. When I listen to the full thing, I think it's like me like battling against like the corporation. I don't know. In my head, I'm literally like, oh, like they've like promoted this on TikTok and like now like they've managed to get me because I'm listening to the full song and I'm like, no, I can't listen to it.
That's actually interesting because I was doing a bit of research into how TikTok influences the music industry and how record labels try to influence what songs go viral. But a lot of the time it's like a remix of something that someone's made or their own beat that goes viral. But then there's been a couple of situations where, for example, someone made a beat and Jason Derulo sampled that beat in a song and the song did really well. And it's like, who gets all the credit for that? It's a weird area. Because like TikTok copyright is all interesting, but that's all your thing. Law and copyright, I'm just like, I pretend I do not see. I just generally don't know. Like copyright and tax, they're the two things, which honestly are two things that could burn me in the end.
Like everyone watching and listening in, income tax is real.
Income tax is real. Like you might have heard that it's not real, but guys, income tax is real.
Income tax 2020.
Before we get stuck into the who dominated the charts, the last thing I wanted to ask you is, do you think that there is a topic that I should cover in the next episode? Because I will get people to ask me questions for that topic. It can be anything.
I would love to see you break apart like a wild conspiracy theory that like people legitimately believe in, like flat earth.
I could do like a space episode and then people can ask questions about that, and as part of that,
you gotta talk about Elon.
I mean, I'd rather talk about Grimes. Grimes is my queen and CEO. Like, what kind of CEO is Elon Musk? My CEO is Grimes.
Get it. Girl power.
The people watching and the people listening, if you have any questions about space, I'll do multiple episodes about space, but if you've got any questions about space to start with, fire them at me and I'll try and answer them. And then for the flat earth thing, I'll look into some debunking and I'll also try and work out if Millie Bobby Brown is in fact a flat earther. Did you know about that?
You know what? She's too much. She's actually too much. Like
She's an icon and a legend.
No, I agree. But like, that's so on brand. I feel it's so on brand for her to come out with that. Do you not think?
There's a video of her after she gets her wisdom teeth taken out, right? So she's on the medication and she's in the car and she's like, I think I'm, what they call it, a flat earther. And she's like staring at the camera. She's like, are you riding? Da-da-da-da. Just like randomly goes into singing Drake. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But I was going to put it in an upcoming video, no spoilers.
I also feel like we forget how young she is. Like the amount of dumb shit I said when I was like that age.
When I see these young YouTubers, right, this is not tea or shade. This is just like opinions, and I'm allowed to have them. So my opinion is, I get stressed when I see really young YouTubers, like 15, 16-year-olds, because I'm like, you can slip up so easily, right? And then that is with you for the rest of your career, because everything that's online stays online.
I'm kind of mad about the fact that no one seems to be going through this like awkward phase that I 100% went through. Do you know what I mean? Like I spent my teens looking sweaty and weird. Like
That's literally me.
I'm weird. Look at my beanie, I'm weird.
As you said, you're not like other girls.
I'm still not like other girls. I'm so obsessed with being different. No, but I just get annoyed that they all look so, like for example, Charlie D'Amelio, my absolute queen, like I literally think she's incredible. But I look at her and I'm just like, you have more going for your life than I have for my life at 23.
I see these people that are literally 10 years younger than me. And I'm like, please don't like drop out of school, or please don't like stop your life plans to become an influencer. I'm like, the stress that I feel for these children. I guess the basic summary for that is these people now against me in 2010, there's just a complete difference. Like 2010, I was sweaty. I was a little bit chubby. I loved pasta. Still do, but I especially loved pasta at that time.
Yeah.
And like 2010 was the person above me at school lighting their locker on fire. That's like the most exciting thing that happened. So I've got a list of the Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles, and I've also got the year-end Hot 100 singles. So the difference between those is obviously the number ones is the number ones, and the year-end Hot 100 singles is when Billboard compares the performance of all the songs throughout the year. So you might have a song that reaches number one, but it might not even be in the top 5, top 10 of the year-end chart, because there might have been something bubbling under for a number of weeks. But what we'll do here is I'll go through some of the number one songs, and then we give it a score out of 10.
Sure.
I feel like that will be a fun activity. So the first song that went number one in 2010 was TikTok by Kesha. Much to say, much to think about. What a cultural reset. Like, I vowed to never say cultural reset again, but that is a cultural reset.
It really was. I think Kesha just like as a person was just so much, but like so at the right time. Like she was
what we needed.
She was like 100% what we needed. Like her with her beads, like she was constantly like in a state of looking completely hungover, and like I wanted to be that. I wanted a bottle of Jack to wash my teeth in the morning.
You were age 12, like, yes, bottle of Jack.
Yes. She's literally singing about like smoking like crack with like her multiple boyfriends, and like I'm there with my chinos like, go off, like, yes.
You with that is like me with If You Seek Amy by Britney. When that song came out and I like found out what it meant, I was like listening, pretending that I didn't know what it was about. I was like, duh, duh, duh. And I was like, the inside joke, I'm in and I want to be Britney. Speaking of Britney, I had a look at her stats in 2010. She had released Circus, I think, the year before, or 2008. So she wasn't super active. Her next single was Till the World Ends in 2011. So Britney is not super in this 2010 discussion, but I will be making a video about her in the future. The next song that hit number one in March of 2010, March 6th to be precise, was I'm a Bee by the Black Eyed Peas. And I lived and breathed this song. This was the only song that I bought the music video for. Okay,
maybe controv. I'm not gonna rate this highly. We can fall out, that's fine.
Do I hang up now?
I have my justifications for this.
Okay, say what you need to say.
I think they popped off with their like first, like, I feel like they came up with their like biggest hits, like Boom Boom Pow, like all their biggest hits, 2008, 2009. I know because I went on like my first school trip in high school and Boom Boom Pow was like out that year, and we all like stood in a tent in a field and like had like a 13-year-old rave.
Wow.
With sugar, like like the least illegal thing ever.
Hell yes.
Hell freaking
that jingle jangle.
And then I'm a Bee came out and I was kind of like, you've already peaked. I didn't enjoy it as much.
That hurts me in my soul. But see, I understand what you're saying, and I respect your opinion. However, you are wrong. That's just...
He's lawyering
Because
me.
I feel like they yo-yoed quite a bit. They had like a bunch of hits in the early 2000s, and then they disappeared for a little bit, and they came back with Boom Boom Pow, and then I'm a Bee for me was that song that I could listen to at any time, and I just feel like ready to do anything. Mm-hmm. And that's still the case. Like I'll pop it on while working, and I'll be like, I'm gonna be up in the club. Like it's just perfect.
Well,
like what more do you need?
Well, I'm happy for you. It doesn't hit for the same way as me, but that's fine.
Fair enough. Wait, so your score out of 10. Also, we need to score the Kesha one.
Okay, Kesha one, I would score it highly for the 2010s. I'd give it maybe an 8.
Okay. Yep.
For Black Eyed Peas, I'm a B. I'd give it maybe a 6. No, I wouldn't. I'm being too kind. I'd give it a 5.
A 5. She barely passed. Okay, I would say TikTok for me is I think an 8 is a good score. It's a high distinction, but she ain't a 9, let's be real. And then I'm a B is a 9, 100%.
The difference between you and me in 2010 is that you spent your Apple iTunes credit on the I'm a B movie. I spent my Apple iTunes credit on the final Harry Potter Deathly Hallows film, and I rewatched that, and that was my chorus. So
Was that 2010?
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god, I feel so old. 10 years ago?
I probably got that wrong.
Wait, no, that does sound right.
It was 2010, 2011.
Oh wow, I'm ancient. Anyway, so then there was Break Your Heart by Teo Cruz, but I pretend I do not see it because I literally have no feelings towards that song.
Or him.
Don't know
I
about
find
you.
him just a bit...
Literally. So the next song, which we have to discuss, is Rihanna Rude Boy.
Do you want me to go first or you go first?
I'm just
I feel like you're waiting for my reaction.
I'm just what do I say?
I know, and she came out with what year did she come out with Disturbia?
Oh, I don't know when Disturbia was. Hang on, I've got the album Rated R up, and I don't think it was... So it wasn't on Rated R. So then that must have been on Good Girl Gone Bad, which was 2007. Then Rated R was 2009, and Loud was 2010. And on Rated R, we had Russian Roulette, Hard, Wait Your Turn, Rude Boy, and Rockstar 101, which were the main singles released at the end of 2009 and the start of 2010.
Yeah.
But Rude Boy, wow, I remember that music video. Do you remember the music video?
Yeah, I do.
A lot of flashing things. Maybe that was the cause of my light sensitivity issues, that music video. But I mean, because Rihanna did, I'd be like, thank you, Rihanna. Thank you. What a gift. What a blessing. What's your score out of 10?
Because it's still played at parties, I feel like that's when you kind of know it was an iconic song. Rude Boy still comes on, and I will still pop a move to that. So I would give Rude Boy it's a great song, but in terms of iconicness, I'd give it a 7.
I'm gonna have to agree, because if I think of Rude Boy and then I'm S&M is a 9.5, 10,
Mm-hmm.
but then Rude Boy is it's solid, but it's not I'm a B solid.
S&M, I thought I was so bad. I was literally in my head.
A bad bitch.
I was 50 Shades of Grey walking down the street in my shitty Vans, just I was a dominatrix.
At age 13?
13, I was like chains and whips do excite me.
Oh my god, I can't. But I remember liking that song and just be going along with it in the chorus, and I never really processed what the song was about.
No.
And then I found out, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
tea. She kind of spilled there.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have a bunch of there's a couple of Bruno Mars songs in here, which I'm just gonna say it now. I'm not a Bruno Mars fan.
No, neither am I. He should have never had a Super Bowl performance. That's my opinion.
She said it. Eve wants to get cancelled. I didn't say it. For me, the tier of things I pretend I do not see is Ed Sheeran, right at the bottom, buried deep below where I just cannot even think about it. And then Bruno Mars is just above Ed.
Here's the thing. I can appreciate that they're both good at what... Well, no, not Ed Sheeran. With Bruno Mars, he's really good at what he does. He's a great dancer. He's a great singer. When
Great
you see him, he goes all out. He dresses
pops
well.
off.
But nothing about me makes me think twice. I never watch a performance and I go away and I still think about him.
That's actually such a good read. You said that Bruno Mars is good at what he does. He's just not memorable.
It's true.
That's just the facts, right?
Yeah.
So then, like, you go from Bruno Mars, and then there's an Usher song, which I'm not that fussed about, which was OMG. Actually, no, that was kind of a bop, though. That's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, well, I can't even remember that off the top of my head.
That's when it's like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a party hit, right?
Yeah.
I think that song would have impacted me more if I was older at the time.
Yes, if I was like actually invited to parties and like singing with my friends.
Imagine being invited to a party in 2010.
Honestly, or now.
I saw a photo. Oh my God, I'm getting PTSD. I saw a photo of me from 2010 wearing red chinos that didn't fit me properly. And I'm showing my like slightly thick face, 3Cs. And it's a picture of me standing near a ping pong table wearing red chinos. And it's honestly cursed. I removed the tag on Facebook. I was like, I can't do it. I just cannot look at this photo.
You need to reclaim. You need to buy yourself a pair of red chinos and wear them and stunt them.
The next song, so the opposite of OMG for me, was California Girls by Katy Perry. The absolute serve. Does Katy Perry work in hospitality? Because she served.
Katy Perry really took her juice and she drank it. Do you know what I mean? She really just, she had her prime and she consistently served. That whole album, hits.
I think it's time we talk about Teenage Dream.
Let's do it.
So Teenage Dream, that was her, I think it was her second or third studio album. So it's her third studio album, released on the 24th of August 2010. And I'm just going to list the singles from this album. California Girls, Teenage Dream, Firework, E.T., Last Friday Night, The One That Got Away, and Hummingbird Heartbeat.
Like,
excuse me.
Back to back. Get me to...
Back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, like seriously.
I remember the song Teenage Dream and the song California Girls being so pivotal in my upbringing. Like, I don't think I would be the same person if those songs didn't come out. Is that being dramatic?
No, I remember the music video for California Girls and it was like super explicit. And she had like...
With the cannons?
Yes! It was like Madonna round 2. But but like more explicit and like more like candy floss. And I remember the line, Daisy Dukes bikinis on top, sun-kissed skin so hot, melt your popsicle. And I was like, wow, like is that an innuendo? Like,
oh my God, melt the popsicle. That's like all the innuendos from those songs that just went right over my head. Like when Lady Gaga in Just Dance in 2009 was like disco stick, and I was like, what's that? Is that like something that you just dance with at the club? Because I'd never been to a club at that age. I was like, where the disco sticks at? Let's party. Let's finish off Teenage Dream before we jump over to the Fame Monster, because we must talk about the Fame Monster.
We have to, yeah.
On Teenage Dream, we had Teenage Dream, then California Girls, Firework, E.T., Last Friday Night. I remember Last Friday Night, the remix for that. That's when I was introduced to remixes. The Missy Elliott remix. Have you heard it?
No.
Oh my God. It's such a bop. Like, it was so underrated. The girls did not appreciate it at the time. I'm having a TJF renaissance at the moment, so I highly suggest you go and listen to that. And the Tommy Sunshine Mega Mix.
Do you know what? I will say one thing here, which that annoyed me.
She's about to pop off again. Here we go.
Here we go. Me with my uncontroversial opinions. TGIF by Katy Perry, the music video. And when she transitions from being like the very stereotypical like braces, like huge curly hair into this like hot Katy Perry. And I was literally like, this is so unrelatable, because I had braces at the time. And I was like, when my braces get like whipped off, I'm not gonna look like that. Like, she literally went from like a 2 out of 10 to a 10. I will say that with my chest. She went to a 10 out of 10.
She said it with her chest. She went up 8 points, let's be real. Yeah. But I remember that music video had Rebecca Black in it. And Rebecca Black is one of those people that...
I love Rebecca Black.
I think I love Rebecca Black too. But I remember she released that song Friday. She had Saturday. And then there was that whole other group of young girls who did... Chinese food, and then My Jeans or something. Do you remember those?
No.
That's like it's a whole thing, right? So there's like this company that used like the image of young girls to make viral hits on social media, and the songs would go up, like blow up because they were terrible, right?
Yeah.
But they would get so many hits and everything, and it's like a proper thing. And then the guy who was behind it, there's like this whole thing with H3H3 and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I started reading about that, and before I got any further, I was like, Miss Rebecca Black got out of there, and I'm glad that she did. She's making good songs now.
And also, she looks great now. Like, I don't know whether you've seen, I have like a huge crush on Rebecca Black, and her Instagram is
aesthetic.
Like, incredible.
I'm subscribed to her YouTube channel, and she uploads her songs and stuff, and I'm glad that she's kind of getting traction on TikTok at the moment. Because I'm like, she deserves it. She's been through the ringer with the public image and everything. So, and she didn't even do anything wrong.
Imagine going week to week at a literal day of the week triggering you. Like, you're trying to get through your week and it gets to a Friday and you wake up and you're like, here we fucking go again.
Imagine having to cancel every single Friday. And Friday is arguably the best day of the week. So the fact that she didn't have Fridays for so many years, that's so tragic. After Katy Perry's Teenage Dream album, we had Teenage Dream, The Complete Confection, which was 2012. And that had Part of Me and Wide Awake, which in my head, they were on the original album. But the thing with release cycles is sometimes it gets confusing trying to remember what's what. I don't know if you have that problem. Like when I think of Nicki Minaj and I think of Pink Friday, and then there's Pink Friday Roman Reloaded, then there's Pink Friday Roman Reloaded the re-up, and it's like, where do these singles sit? So Wide Awake was one of my top songs off Teenage Dream. I'm going to say it. I know it's controversial, but I'm going to say it. That like May's music video, she had the budget. And we had the time.
You've only served facts in that equation. And to be honest, I'm gonna like leave this episode and go and listen to that full album. I feel like it needs some more recognition in 2020.
So let's jump over to the Fame Monster. So the Fame Monster was the reissue of the Fame from 2008. Fame Monster was released November 18, 2009. And it was a deluxe edition reissue and included Bad Romance, Telephone, Alejandro, and Dance in the Dark. Bop, 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 bop.
So good. So I love Lady Gaga. Like, for me, Lady Gaga is like probably my number one pop icon of all time. Like, full stop.
I honestly would have to agree. And like, I'm a full-time barb. I'm a part-time YouTuber and part-time engineer, but I'm a full-time barb. That's what I do professionally.
Yeah.
And if you look at my listening stats, my number one artist is Lady Gaga. She's untouchable.
Yeah.
Like art pop on repeat.
On
at
repeat.
all times.
And I also feel it's because at the time she was doing things that we hadn't seen. Do you know what I mean? Every single thing she came, and I feel like
the culture.
Yeah, but like a reset. At like each week was a reset. Like she would turn up at an event with the new, like her meat dress, her egg dress, like those heels. Can you remember the heels? And at the time,
heels, the Alexander McQueen ones.
Yes, and like the Glee Lady Gaga episode. Do you think that was a serve? God. Do you think that won, or do you think that did justice to Gaga?
I think the Glee episode, the Lady Gaga episode was fantastic, but the Britney one was better. I have to put it out there. Britney, episode 6 or 7, I think, of season 2, which was 2010, by the way, so we can discuss it. What a moment, honestly. In
all honesty, I have watched that standalone episode perhaps 50 times.
As you should, to be honest. That album, so actually no, Glee had 3 albums. They had Glee Greatest Hits Volume 3, and then Glee The Madonna. There must have been a Madonna episode in season 2 or something.
Yeah, there was.
So there was 3 Glee albums that debuted at number 1 in 2010 on the Billboard 200 album chart. How insane is that? They have something like 198 or maybe over 200 entries in the Billboard Hot 100, which is the biggest in history. Or it was. Is that not insane?
Yes. I feel like people should talk about that more, maybe. The amount of money they must have earned.
How about I list some names and you pick which ones you want to discuss further?
Go for it.
So we've got Susan Boyle, Justin Bieber, One Direction, Adele, Taylor Swift, and we've kind of discussed Kesha, and then Ed Sheeran.
There are okay. I think, firstly, I love that Susan Boyle was part of that list. I wasn't ready for you to bowl that ball towards me, and I'm hardly dodged it.
Susan Bowl that ball. But she spent 7 weeks at number 1. She spent 7 weeks at the number 1 album spot with 2 different albums. There was like her first one, hashtag Susan Boyle album party, which turned out to be Sus Anal Bum Party. What a moment that was. And then her end of the year, she made I think it was like a Christmas album, and that was number 1 for 2 or 3 weeks. Which, Christmas albums, those were still huge in 2010. Like, Justin Bieber released a full Christmas album in 2011.
I listen to Mistletoe every year.
Forgotten about.
Yeah, I listen to Mistletoe every year. It's like a Christmas classic for me.
Mariah Carey owns Christmas, so I don't know why everyone else is trying to compete and compare when they just don't.
It is true, and I enjoy her live performances so much because they're really not very good. But
she gives the bare minimum energy.
She gives the bare minimum, but like she gets the same hype each time. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone is still obsessed. I feel like she could walk on stage and literally like cough into a microphone and
I'd say thank you.
To the beat of All I Want for Christmas. She could be like and everyone would be like, you're iconic. And I would be one of those people.
If I was there and I witnessed that, I'd probably just start crying. Let's discuss, actually, there's one more thing I wanted to add about Lady Gaga. Her meat dress. Did you know there was an actual meaning behind that?
Was it about abortion?
No, it was about... So apparently there was like the... it was called the Prime Cut of America or something. And it was about how the US military didn't let the LGBT community enroll.
Yeah,
then she was like, you're missing out on the best cuts. Which is like a weird analogy. But like there was a thing behind it. And I feel like in Australia, I didn't know that was the reason behind it because no one ever really talked about it.
Yeah, no.
They were just like, she's wearing meat.
Now you've said it, I realise I'm getting confused. It wasn't about abortion. It was about don't ask, don't tell.
Is that the
That was the military policy that like if you're in the US Army, like you shouldn't, like they discourage you to talk about your sexuality.
And like I remember just the tabloids going insane about the meat dress. And I remember there's like I think it's an image of her sitting next to Kanye, and Kanye's pretending to like eat the raw meat. And I'm just thinking, if I had to clean that stadium or whatever after Lady Gaga sat in some like warm room temperature raw meat on a seat, like throw the chair away.
She took the hit, you know what I mean? Because that must have, I just think the smell.
Honestly, the smell would haunt me. Because like I struggle as it is to cook with raw meat. Imagine having to wear it.
You'd be walking around the stadium and you'd be like, where's Gaga? And then you'd be like, she's over there. I can smell her.
She's over there. That era, I'm just going to drop a bomb here. She was 23.
Stop it. That makes me feel so underachieved.
So Gaga was, or actually in 2010, she was 24. Rihanna in 2010 was 22. I can't put those numbers together.
I remember like Take a Bow, and Take a Bow she looked so young and it was so great, Rihanna, and I just remember being like wow, but at the time I was like 14, so I was like by 22 I'll be a number 1 singer too.
Exactly. I remember seeing like Lady Gaga's performances and Kesha and Britney and everyone, and I was like, by the time I am 24 I'm gonna be like megastar, have my life together. And now I'm like, oh, I've been sitting in the same chair for 100 days now. Maybe the last thing we'll talk about is One Direction, because One Direction debuted in 2010. So when I say debut, they formed in 2010, but their first album was actually released in 2011. So maybe we can discuss more the cultural significance of One Direction. So for me in Australia, I was at an all-boys school, right? So seeing a new boy band, no one really gave a shit, right? They're like, this is not our territory. We don't care about boy bands or pop music, which is a lie. But then in the UK, since they're a UK band, was it a big cultural reset?
So wild, so wild. The talk of the school, I exclude myself because I've never been like a huge like boy band fan. Can you tell? But everyone was kind of like, who's your favorite direction? Like people were like, is Liam your favorite? Is Harry your favorite?
Who was?
I think Harry was my favorite. Also because
even back then?
Claim to fame, yes, because I found all of them kind of annoying, and like the one they looked so young at the time. I remember they were like genuine teenage boys, genuine, not fake, and
not the fake ones.
Not the fake ones. And I remember just being like a bit like freaked out by the fact they were like actually like not our age, but like quite real. And I liked Zayn. I liked Zayn and Harry, but because they were both northern. I'm a northerner, so I did like the northerns. And Harry lived near me.
Eve is basically neighbours and best friends with Harry Styles. How crazy is that?
This is why I don't call myself a fan. I would call myself a sister.
A friend of Harry Styles. Put that on your resume. So for me, at the time, I mean, I didn't really have a favourite because I would kind of just listen to the music and their voices all kind of blended together. But now I can say without a doubt that my favourite is Harry Styles. And then next would be Zayn. Zayn, he has some bops, and we don't give him enough attention for those bops. No Candle, No Light, feat Nicki. We didn't deserve it, and yet we needed it.
I feel the energy that he does try very hard to be different, but I kind of think...
He's not like other girls.
No, he's not like the other girls, and I kind of like that. He's a bad boy.
Their reunion is apparently this year, which
is that happening?
I don't know. Everyone's like, what are your thoughts on the reunion? And they ask me like it's confirmed, but I don't actually know. But if that was to happen, I'm here for it. Because let's be real, they could pull it off.
Yeah.
But then if I was Liam, I'd be kind of like, oh,
yeah,
this kind of sucks. Because you have Harry, you have Zayn, and like Louis recently broke his contract with his record label, so he's like changing. So he's going to have like a new cultural reset. And then Niall... kicking goals.
Yeah.
And Liam's on memes.
I don't enjoy Liam's energy at all. I feel like I'm gonna get hate for this. I just don't enjoy... You know, he said something like... He said awful things about Harry, like... He was like, oh, why would you...
thing?
The dress thing. He was like, why would you paint your nails if you're a guy? I'm like, ew, like, what kind of standards are you trying to uphold here? Go away.
And then people turned him into a meme. Go away, Liam. We don't want you here. To summarise the things that we didn't cover, the only bits of info that I included that we didn't talk about were Justin Bieber releasing Baby in January as part of his Part of My World album in March, which was the only really memorable single from that album for me. And then Whip My Hair was that year. And the last thing is Nicki Minaj released Pink Friday at the end of 2010. Super Bass was a single on that, but was 2011. And I'm going to do a full episode on Nicki Minaj, so I'm not going to go too deep onto that. But can you give me a score out of 10 for Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday album?
Pretty high. I won't lie. Like, there's not many things...
So a 10.
Well, here's the thing. At the time, I don't think I appreciated it. So at the time, I would have probably given it like an 8 or a 9. Now looking back and streaming, I'd give it a 10. I have more appreciation for its like iconicness, but at the time I wasn't as switched on.
Eve said, Barb's community let me in. And honestly, the Barbs are always taking members.
Knock, knock.
I think that's probably all we have to talk about. So if you're listening to this or watching this and you're not subscribed to Eve Cornwell, first of all, you're a clown. But you can remedy that by hitting the link in the description. Or you can type into YouTube, Eve Cornwell. Also follow Eve on Instagram. I feel like your Instagram is very aesthetically pleasing.
Thank you. Coming from you, that's a huge compliment. Mike's Instagram's amazing. If you're listening or watching this and you've just seen Mike on YouTube and you've not looked at his Instagram, his feed is like a whole planned piece of art. It's like a gallery.
But yeah, so that brings me to the end of this episode. Big thank you to Eve for joining.
Thank you for having me. Oh my God.
If you viewers or listeners have suggestions for who you want on the next PopCast, let me know and pick a year and then we'll talk about that year. And yeah, thanks for listening and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out. Bye.